In this class, we're going to start by preparing the quaw nests at our shoulders. I'm using lacrosse balls, and we're just going to be putting them right in the front of the deltoid. So you feel the armpit is, but it's in front, and it's a little bit of a pocket, possibly. So just start by rolling the ball in one direction softly. We're not trying to work out gristle in any kind of tough way. Reverse the direction that you're doing the circles in now. If you don't have exactly what I'm considering the quaw nest, just find that region that's in the front of the shoulder. Switch to the other side, find one direction, find the little hollow, and just find the ball rolling around, waking this area up, creating a bit of hydration, and then reverse the direction. Okay, so now we're actually going to work it into the quaw nest in the groin. So you can feel where there's a gristly part on one side in the thigh, and then there's a femoral triangle that's a bit of a hollow. It's between that area. So roll the ball in one direction there. So it's beside the pubic bone, and it's an area that can be sensitive, so just work a bit softer. And then roll it around in the other direction. And let's move to the other side. So I'm wearing black pants and it's a black ball, but you can feel that sort of femoral triangle. It's a little bit of a hollow, and you feel the point of the pubic bone and the sort of gristle at the top of the thigh, and just roll into that, what could be a pocket or a quaw nest, KWA. And then the other direction. We're preparing areas with physical touch and getting the blood circulating before we start to come into some upper body strength. Okay, so now let's go down onto our backs. You can just move the ball to the side of the belly. So what we're doing is we're taking the ball and we're rolling it from one direction in towards the center of the rectus abdominis. So you'll feel just kind of a rolling, and you're working your way up, rolling the ball towards the rectus abdominis. That's that kind of bulkier muscle that's in the center from the pubic bone up towards the ribs. So you work up, doing a rotate to the center line as you go gradually up, and then work all the way down towards the pubic bone. And then now let's go to the other side. So again, we're starting a little bit low, just rolling it with the pressure that feels that you can feel the contact, but you're not creating some pain. And just notice here as you roll the ball farther up and then eventually farther back down to the groin, that we may have some inequities or some unequal feelings in the belly. Now take the ball just across side to side, just around the rectus abdominis. So these muscles that are kind of ropey in the center. Kind of your Nowley muscles. And if you have any other region that you just feel like you need a little extra attention with, just move that to wake up. Put the ball to the side and just lay down and notice. And now consciously breathing in and consciously breathing out, noticing as you continue, what is the rhythm or cadence of your breathing? What's the quality in the mind as you're breathing? Without changing anything, just paying attention. Okay, and then just pause your concentration on breathing, and you can roll over to a side to set up with the spinal strip. We're going to use the spinal strip in a hand fold, so it's your palm to the edge and maybe about 1 inch beyond your fingers. Placing it down on the mat, your strip is going to be right underneath the spine between the shoulder blades, and then you'll feel that little ridge coming right up to the very, very top of the thoracic spine, and then just pause here. You'll see that your head is on the remaining part of the strip. See if it's possible to feel kind of a draping of the front of the chest, allowing the shoulder blades to have more of a yielding down into the ground. Notice what breathing feels like here, because you are in a bit of a back bend. You have the chest lifted from behind. And so now I'm reaching over to get a dowel. This dowel is about 1.25 inches in diameter, and it's 2 feet wide. I'm holding on to it loosely. You can hold a strap as well. This gives me a different kind of feedback than a strap, because it can show me really what's happening with my arms. So just for a few moments here, we're going to raise the arms to the ceiling and then back down. Or you're going to really feel that it's coming from the region of the head of the arm, right in the socket. So that humerus bone, as it's moving, feeling the shoulder blades moving around the ribs. Slowly and steady. See if we can relax parts of the body as we do this. So for example, sometimes we might clench a jaw or the ribs or the belly, or who knows, we're all very unique. We have different compensation patterns. So now just pause with your shoulder blades down, and we're just going to take the arms to a bit of an overhead and going back and forth. So your raising of the arms will feel different than my raising of the arms. Every time I am taking my arms over, I'm really noticing, is there a little tug at my lowest ribs? Do I have a pulling, or do I have a pain sensation through the movement in my shoulders? So staying with this. Playing with different degrees of lowering the arms, playing with different degrees of lowering them, whether it's front towards the belly or overhead. Sometimes I play with taking them overhead to where they can go, and then just moving the arms away from my hips and back down. So a different shaping of shoulder blade movement. And then you come back into neutral and feel, what does it feel like now to lift the arms? Staying curious. And then let's be done moving the belt or the dowel to the side and just taking a couple moments to notice. Now let's bring the hands back up, taking the thumb and index finger into Chin Mudra, and we'll just slowly feel the sense of pulling the thread out wide to the side. And then feeling the sensation that the thread closes back up. So the arms go out wide and they come back up. Going very slowly and noticing the whole time. Only going so far that you have no pain or strain. You can also play with just moving one arm out to the side, see what happens in the body. And then it comes up, and moving the other arm out to the side. And then it comes up. I'm doing it again one more time with my right arm. And then with my left arm. And then doing it again with both arms, just feeling the contrast. Bringing the arms up and then be done. Have a moment of pause. Now we're going to lift the arms again, bending at the elbow so that the forearms might be parallel to the ground, and just slowly moving the arms out to the side and back up. And when we're doing this, we're seeing if it's possible to keep an even distance, that the wrists are moving away from each other and the elbows are moving away from each other. So for example, we're not moving the elbows sort of at a faster pace than the wrists. And sometimes that movement or distance is very small, and sometimes it's broad on different days. What are the muscles that are allowing the arms to go out? What are the muscles that are slowing them down? What happens to breathing in this? Can it still stay just a natural soft breath? Building the sense that we have muscles that bring the movement or sort of turn on for movement, and muscles that allow for the movement. And let's just bring the arms down and pause. So let's imagine that we're going to have the hydraulic lifting for the sits bones and the backs of the thighs will come into a bridge roll. So just feeling that everything is soft and melting to the ground, and you're lifting with the hydraulics, coming up to just where you can come up. Breathing. And then just come up and down, kind of a freestyle of up and down, feeling a massage between the shoulder blades, if that suits. I sometimes have to move my hair out of the way because I know it catches on the sticky mat or on the strip. So those are kinds of adjustments that you can make sure that your head and neck can be relaxed. And then let's just come back down. Slowly, slowly. Make sure you're in the right position. Moment of pause. So now we're going to come back up again. So come to the hydraulics of the sitting bones and the backs of the thighs, and just coming up, feeling what can come more relaxed and what needs to be engaged. Now keep the shoulder blades where they are, or the shoulders, and just see about moving the chest around, feeling the contrast that shoulders and shoulder blades are staying still, but the chest moves around the shoulders. Just going up and down in a range that suits. And then now let's just see if the whole chest and shoulders stay, and you're moving the hips down, connecting the ribs down a bit more with the pelvis or the tops of the hip bones. And then come down and have your moment of assessing, pausing. So these have been ways to open up and create some ease and balance in the structure around our bones. So let's roll over to the side and just move the strip to the side. We can learn through contrasts, so feel what it feels like now that you're off that strip. What do the shoulder blades feel like in the ground, or the hips, the breathing? Rolling over and coming up. So I always need to rearrange some of my fabrics. And then we're going to take some balls, again, the same balls that we used to massage in the quaw nests. Let's use these for our hands. So we'll use them a few different ways. Some we'll use them like in a smile around the mounds of the fingers or the base of the palms, and we'll also do some circles right in the center of the palm. So doing some circles now. The fingertips might remain on the ground, some circles in one direction, and then the other direction. Okay, so now we're going to find the smile of the base of the palm. So the fingertips are on the ground, and we just take it sort of smilingly, curvingly, side to side. Waking up and hydrating through the tissues. Preparing the hands that they will be used with some strength. Okay, and then now let's come to the smile at the mounds of the fingers. So just rolling from side to side. And then I often do just a few pulses where I just feel the center of the palm and just pulse, pulse, pulse. Now specifically, we're going to place this in the webbing between the thumb and the index finger. So one ball is underneath and one ball is on top. And you can kind of just massage the ball in the webbing from the top, but you're also feeling it sandwiched from the ball below. Just using the pressure that feels healing. Okay, and so now this is the side, sort of the outside meaty part of the thumb and the thumb mound. So I'm also just using the second ball to massage that down. One ball's below, one ball's above. And now we'll do this on the second hand. So the webbing between the thumb and the index finger. One ball below and one up. Just kind of rolling it, kneading it a little bit down. And then now at the mound of the thumb, or sort of the base of the thumb. Okay, good. So the fingers might feel kind of interesting. Have a moment of pausing and feeling that. And now let's just open and close the fingers. Open a little bit wide, close a little bit firmly, get a rhythm. And then pause. Now we're going to do some rotation around just at the wrists. So see if you can isolate that it feels like it's just at the wrists. You can put your hands into little fists, doing it one direction. And then let's go the other direction. So I'm not involving much of the forearm. Of course, it is involved to some degree, but just isolating it. Now let's get more of the arm involved, so it's a full rotation that also seems to affect at the elbow. And then the other direction. Lots of ways we can prepare the tissues and the mind to the body with kindness. Okay, so now let's just take the backs of the hands together, and it's like a kind of a clasping, and we're roiling around at the base of the fingers. So you're roiling, 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 roiling. And then just move them out to the next digit and roil as well. So it's like a massage. You'll feel that between the fingers to the bones and now to the very last little part of our digits. Let's clasp it with the other finger dominant. Roil, roil, roil at the base of the fingers. This is something I saw in a karate video. And then moving out to the next set of digits. And then to the ends. Okay, so let's use a kind of technique to open up the thumb. So we take our left fingers and hold the thumb, but we have the base of our right palm at the base of that left thumb, and we're pulling the thumb back to some degree and stretching out the fingers long. Now the other side, so it's the left hand holding the right thumb. And you can see the heel of the palm is just pushing into the base of the thumb as you're just drawing the thumb back and you're stretching out a little bit with the fingers. Good, let's pause. And you can just come to standing. We're going to use these balls again. We're going to use them on our feet. Now I'm just going to show you that, of course, we can do any of these with just one ball at a time, or we could do both balls where we're standing on them. I mean, it really is going to take some getting used to that. So let's just do the smile under the mounds of the toes, so that fleshy part below the toes. The heels are on the ground, and we're just going side to side. Little smiles or little C shapings. And then now we can, again, step on it. It's going to be different at different parts of the feet. We can now step on it with our heels and do the smiles this way. So I've got quite a bit of pressure on there because I do this sometimes, so my feet feel pretty comfortable with these balls in. We're not wanting to create a lot of tension in the rest of our body. Okay, so 1 or 2, and now we're going to put it into the more fleshier part, sort of below the mounds of the toe, and just rolling from side to side, finding any way that we can massage into that more fleshier part. In reflexology, it might be the solar plexus. I wrap my toes around it as well. I'm just moving back. So this is the fleshier part in front of the heel. I'm going side to side, but any kind of zigzag pattern will work as well, or striding techniques with the balls. Sitting in a chair would apply a lot less pressure, and that might be appropriate. Okay, put the balls to the side and just feel what your feet feel like. Now, another way that we can wake up through the feet is to stand on a dowel, which is what I'm doing. And I've said before, it's 1.25 inches. And I'm going to be standing on it first with the mounds of the toes, and my toes wrap around. You can see they kind of roll around the top of the dowel, holding on. And you just play with this. It's like some of it's a bit strong and some of it's a bit soft or sort of just draped over. Swinging arms forward and back. No other purpose, but it just feels good in my body to do this. Building trust in my arms and shoulders. And then now take them a bit higher and go to the back. And when they come into the front, you bend the elbows in. Just have a look to see what I mean by that. Back and forward. And you let the chest pop to some degree. So it's not really a hip hop thing, but it's a little bit of a popping of the chest when the arms go back. We're letting that happen. Okay, so now let's just change it and go a little bit slower. So the arms go out to the side and then they bend up towards the ear and then in front of the chest and then to the ear, to the chest. And you can go fast or very, very slow with this. I'm doing it a little bit slowly because it's helping with my elbow health. I'm feeling a little bit wide through my side ribs to support my arms being up so that I'm not using the muscles all around my neck. Now let's roll them around. So rolling around the elbows. Of course, if you're fatigued, you can lower your arms to do this now. And then the other direction. And then come down. Soften the shoulders. Now, we're going to do a kind of shoulder roll, but it's really going to be getting the whole torso involved. So it's like a roiling of the body to move the shoulders up, forward, back, down. And when I'm doing this, I'm feeling it actually coming right from my low belly, and then it goes to the side ribs, and then it feels like it's moving the shoulders around. So it's just a fuller movement expression. And then now let's reverse the direction that this roiling is going. Okay, come into a moment of pausing. Now let's isolate it and make it more just about the arm and shoulder blades moving around the ribs. So just rolling in one direction. And then the other. And then just pause. So now come a little bit more forward on the dowel if that still suits. And bring the arms up and just roll and feel that it's coming. The shoulder blades are drawing the arms back so that rotates for the palms to face up. And then the front of the shoulders draw the arms down and then the palms can go down. So feel that this is initiated in the region higher up the chain than the hands. And once you come into the shaping, that's when you're going to then move the hands at the wrists. Just play with this. And then pause. We're going to pick up some balls. Now, these are fun balls. I love these. They are soft and squishy. They're 2 pounds. And I just do some arm rotations while holding these. You can do them obviously without, or just like cans of tomatoes or something. Just bringing the arms forward, up, out to the side and down. Finding a rhythm that feels a little bit slow. Sometimes there is a direction that feels easier, whether it's lifting or lowering. See if you can come to a balance. See if it's possible to be lifting more with a concept of the side ribs. Let's roll around in the other direction. So for example, we're not lifting with the muscles just at the side of the neck. We're not just lifting up the arms and creating tension this way. We have a bit more support for the lifting. We're still breathing. And here we're doing about 10 reps in both directions. But you can do more or less, or again, just not have little weights on your hands. And then be done. Move those to the side. Now we're going to use some weights. I've got some 5-pound weights, and we're standing on the dowel again only if it suits. Pick up your weights and just roll the arms in and out. I'm actually using momentum to create again some more hydration through the tissues, a different style of strength through the arms. And then come up. The first move we're going to do is we're going to take the weights just slowly up so that they're facing in towards each other, and then as you straighten the arms they face away, and then they come in and they face in towards your chest. Up and down. So this is a slow movement, and we're only doing 8 reps of all of these that we'll be doing with the weights. So just a way to say, hello muscles, we're going to be used, but we're not trying to fatigue them. Come down, do the twisting if that suits you, if you like that kind of thing. You could also just move the weights forward and back in the shoulders using the weight to massage. Okay, so now we're going to have the palms face up, lift the arms up, rotate so that the hands face behind you, take the arms a little bit away, take them forward, face down and up. Sunrise up, out to the side, face down to come down. Face up, round, rotate out to the side, the palms face down to come down. Up, rotate, face the ground and down. Up, rotate, face the ground to come down. And up, round, face the back, face the ground to come down. One more. And down. Good. So I'm going to do some rotating again. My wrists and my arms really love this. This is one of the things that has kept my wrists and hands in good shape for doing some upper body strength. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is just move the arms back. So hold the weights at your side and just move the arms back and back and back. So not a lot of momentum, but not super stiff as well. So now let's just have the hands parallel to the torso, and we're lifting into little curls, but we're doing a bit of a spiral. You can have a look to see how the weights face the thighs and then they turn up to face the chest. So there's a rotation at the elbows as they're coming up. Just slow movements. Okay, now just have the forearms parallel to the ground, the palms face up, and just slow curls up and just come to neutral, curling up and come to neutral. Now face the weights towards each other and find the same little curve in towards the torso and then neutral. Now face the palms down and sort of a revving movement, revving up, 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 up. And now let's soften around the wrists again after that. We don't want to reload with tension the next time we do the weights. Okay, so I'm using my back to be more parallel to the ground, and we'll bend the elbows. So bring the elbows to the sides of the torso and bend and straighten and bend and straighten. And then keep them straight, and now find the last position of the wrist to like lift and straighten, lift and straighten. Massage through the wrists with the twists. And now here we really want to find the loose quality of the arms before you do this movement. The arms are going to stay straight and come up and back. Parallel, palms facing towards the hips. Finding room for breath. Okay, so now we're going to move into a slightly different position, taking the arms up overhead with the palms facing each other and just bending the elbows and straightening, and bending and straightening. I'm bringing my armpits a little bit forward and a little bit up, feeling a sense of width at the sides of the ribs to some degree. Just going slowly. And then bring them down. So let's move the dowel off to the side, and we'll move the weights over to the side and just take hold of some blocks. I'm using these blocks. You could have some balls. We're just going to put them in our armpit. A couple moments of playing with wide side ribs, opening the armpits, opening the quad nests in the shoulders, and letting the sides of the neck and the tops of the shoulders drape. So we can inhale and widen through the side ribs and keep it wide as you inhale and exhale, and just roll around the neck, feeling the space, the freedom. And then the other direction with rolling around the head and the neck. Come back into the center, and now let's just feel an inhale, a widening, exhale, narrowing. Inhale, widening, holding, and then let's take those out. So move those over to the side. And we're going to come into some sun salutations. So just follow along, come to the front of the mat, and we'll go very slowly, and we'll see if we can soften some preloading. So standing maybe with your hands together, releasing the arms, bringing them up, feeling the sitting bones go a little bit forward, engaging in the muscles at the backs of the thighs, widening, like the chest is just an easy widening as it's going a little bit back. And feel yourself evenly coming forward to come into your forward fold, just stopping at any point where there's a tug and coming right back up. We're just going to play with this, coming forward and back with the hips, widening, letting the ribs just kind of soften wide, and then coming forward again, just to the point where you might have a tension or a pain, not pushing past that, wherever that would be in the pelvis, the legs, the hips. Coming up again, and let's just play with the bridge, just like we did when we were on the ground, where everything's sort of softened, but you've got so much sweet connection through the sitting bones and the backs of the legs. And then coming forward. Let's pause in our forward, wherever that is. And then we will actually bend the knees and let yourself sort of hang. Feel the traction through the spine. So the body is easy before movement. The hands come beside the feet. Now we're going to bend the knees, lift the heels. The hands are soft. And then you jump back, and the amount of muscles in the hands is just what is needed. You're in a far back kind of position of down dog. Feel both hands and both feet simultaneously, and very slowly just move, shifting the weight to the hands. And a raised plank. And then just shift forward into a lowered plank and then come down. Feel the back start to curve up, then the hands pick up. And now here you are in upward facing dog, feeling the sitting bones, just like we were in bridge, and a widening and an ease in the chest. Knees down. Position yourself for sort of a short version or a shortened distance of down dog. Hands are in alignment, but they're easy. Elbows are pendulous. You're in your cave of connections. Your toes are tucked. Quad nests are opening. And you just simply think feet and hands. Push them apart evenly and have the hips come up to the sky. Breathing. And then you're going to shift your weight to look over your hands, come back and bounce your feet to the hands. Be in your forward fold. And then just think about the muscles that might be going to be pulling you back up to your standing position. Bring the hands to the heart and have a moment of pause. And then release. Feeling sitting bones. You're coming into your bridge. Wide and easy chest. And then coming up. What are the muscles that are bringing you forward? And what are the muscles that are supporting this and also possibly releasing to some degree? You're in forward fold, and then bend the knees. Find your ease of spine. Hands are going to come beside the feet. They're soft hands. And you're going to bend and lift the heels and bounce so the feet go back. You're in this far distance of a down dog, wide through the side ribs. The upper back is a bit plump as you just slowly shift the weight. So the hands have only taken up the load as they need. Shift forward to lower plank, coming to upward facing dog. So there's a downness in the hands now, a quality of stability and ease. Shift your weight back, come into the cave of connections, the toes tuck, the hands are in location but they're soft, the elbows are soft, widen the side ribs, plump the upper back a little bit, and just think pushing away the mat with the hands and the feet, hips come up. And just shift forward as like a test, and then bounce the feet towards the hands. Forward fold. And what is it? Is it an inhale? What is your spontaneous breathing? It's going to bring you up. Hands to the heart. So let's do one more of these. Arms coming up, feeling yourself going into a little bit of that bridge. What brings you into the bridge? And then come up and over and forward for forward fold. Feel even on your feet, or just notice if you are or aren't. Let's find ourselves bending now. So the knees are going to bend, the hands are going to come right by the feet. We're going to lift the heels again. And when we lift the heels and we come into this kind of a position, again, the hands are soft, but the side ribs are wide, the armpits are domed, and we hop back. Feel the upper back slightly plump, the side ribs are engaged, and you just shift yourself forward, and the muscles are now engaged, and you feel a downness into the hands. Lower plank and up dog. Knees down, and let's come back into the cave of connections where we have the armpit domes, the quad nests in the groin, toes are tucked, hands are in good alignment but soft pendulous elbows, and then push the mat away with the hands and the feet. Now shift the weight into the right leg and the left hand and bring your right arm forward. When it comes down, it's soft but aligned, armpit is domed. Now you just tip. And then that lower arm just takes the weight because you've set it up a little bit of pre-thought, pre-muscles in the armpit. Come back around, staying high, down dog. Now we're going to shift the weight into that left leg and the right arm. Bring the left arm forward. It's soft, but then as you slowly shift and load into that hand, we tip. The arm is engaged into the armpit, the quadricep at the shoulder. We're just seeing if we can use only the muscles that are required to be here on our side. Come back around to down dog. You know, what I like to do after doing a few stronger poses is just to make sure my mind is soft, sit back on my heels, tuck the toes, and do one round of alternate nostril breathing. Shift forward and come onto the tops of the feet, but lift the ankles so you're feeling that C-shaping of the feet. Sit back on the heels or on a block, of course, and find another round of alternate nostril breathing here. And then shift forward. Now come on to the ankles. So the ankles are down, the sides of the feet are together, sitting on, again, maybe the heels or maybe on a block. Alternate nostril breathing. This video isn't showing a lot of modifications. That's something that you are going to be able to just watch this and set yourself up in your own special way. And then I like to take my heels apart and sit into Virasana and another round of alternate nostril breathing. Nadi Shodhana. Pause and just feel. And then we're going to take ourselves to the wall. So take your feet with your heels up, your toes are curved under, and you're going to come into the cave of connections again. The hands are in good alignment, and so they're kind of spread fingers, but then I soften them, soften pendulous elbows, widen the side ribs, plump up the upper back a little bit. Cave of connections in the groin, and then just come up into a kind of down dog, take one leg up the wall, and then the other. Pause here. Breathe here. One thing that I've enjoyed doing with this shaping is having one leg up and one leg down, where the leg that's down is not on the ground, but it's kind of drawing towards the body. And then alternate. And let's just slowly bring one foot down, the other foot down, come hanging, maybe ragdoll just for a moment. Let's go back into a bent knee position where we're sitting in Vajrasana, toes tucked under. One round of alternate nostril breathing. Lean forward and switch your feet. You're on the tops of the feet, but the ankles are lifted off the ground, sitting back. Nadi Shodhana. Switch the feet. The ankles are down. Alternate nostril breathing. Come forward and let's go into Virasana, where the heels are on either side of the hips. And another round. And just pause, feel the inside. And then let's go back to the wall. So taking the toes tucked under, heels at the wall, finding the hands in a right position. It just feels like just right when you soften the elbows, drop the head, widen the side ribs, plump up the upper back a bit, and just lift, keeping the relationship in the chest and the shoulders and shoulder blades, and step the legs up the wall. So you feel the downness of strength in the hands, feel containment in the shoulder blades, but we're not doing anything specific for this. We set it up with ease, so we knew the alignment, and then we maintain the alignment, and then we load it. And then gradually taking one leg down and the other, hanging to soften the arms, soften the mind. come down to the mat. We're going to put something soft under us for our seat, and we'll do a few things that create some more space again in the shoulders after we've loaded them. Let's just come into a position of bound angle. So the soles of the feet might be together. And then just testing the sensation of coming into forward fold. Where is your natural stop? And then once you've found that, let's just take the hands behind us and on either side of the hips and just feel the chest coming forward and back in the shoulders. So that it's the chest that's moving, even though you'll see a lot of movement in the shoulders. And now do just move the shoulders where the chest stays relatively still. And then we're going to come into a twist. So hang back and then bring your left arm around over towards the right. Move that shoulder blade forward in the back arm or the stabilized arm or the shoulder blade back towards the spine. Feel the waist twisting. Let's come back. Pop the chest, drop the chest, twist over to the left. The shoulder blades moves forward of your upper arm, the lower arm, the shoulder blade is snugged into the spine, the waist twists. And let's just continue this. Pop and drop and twist, keeping the hips in the feeling that they have that heavy, heavy blanket holding them still. Come around to the other side, pop, drop, and twist. Come back and pop and drop and twist. And pop, drop, and twist the last one where you're twisting over to the left. And then you'll come back. And let's just test the feeling of forward fold now. And using your breath and coming up. We're going to set ourselves up on our right hip in deer pose. So the right knee is the front knee and that left one's the back. The foot's on that knee. Taking your right hand onto the mat. And it's going to be the left arm that lifts and the shoulders will move, the hips stay still, and we will be twisting. So bring that left arm up and back and feel the twist. Come around and then stretch out that arm and lift your back leg. Go around and curve in a twist. Come forward, lengthening and lift the back leg. Back and twist. Forward and lift the leg. Back and twist. The hip stays neutral and then forward, lengthen and then lift. And back. And forward and lift. And then now let's just come back and pause. Just feel that, like feel the dust settling from that. Now the next move we're going to do, it's going to look the same, but we're not going to take ourselves back into the twist. The arm stays in relation with the ribs. And we come into a thread the needle, but we see that the hip doesn't move in. So come up and thread, just feeling the waist and the shoulders move. Up and the waist and a bit of shoulders. Hips stay neutral as you come up and thread. And up and thread. And then up and just pause. So now let's do this on the other side. So you're going to feel like we are doing the same thing. So you have your stabilizing hand and your lifted hand. So this first one, we take the arm back and the shoulders move and it's a twist. And then we come forward leaning, lift the back leg. Twist behind and forward leaning. So we twist behind, the hips stay basically still, and forward and lift. And back and twist, and forward and lift the back leg. Back and twist, and forward and lift the back leg. Come into a pause. So now when we come back into this, we're going to have our stabilized hand, and this lifted arm isn't going to move back, but it's going to just come forward and thread through. The hips are going to stay neutral, just up, just straight, and then through. Not moving the hips forward. We could do that, but we're not. It's a bit much of a torque. And just continue opening and closing. And opening and closing in. And then just come up again, let the dust settle, feel what you feel. I like to have a moment of just sitting and feeling into the mind. And then if you wish, you can come down into your final relaxation or Shavasana. We've practiced with warming up in the muscles around the shoulders, and we've exercised with a little bit of strength and small few repetitions of weights. Created hydration around the tissues around the armpits and the shoulders. We've woken up through the feet. We've paid attention to the quality of the side ribs and the armpits and the qua nests before movement. Feeling them having a kind of load of rightness for us today, and then the hands are in alignment where nothing feels like it's torquing from the ground up. We have the shoulder blades, the armpits dictating how the hands are going to be. Letting all of that go and decide if you wish to just stay in your Shavasana. Letting it melt away. Using only what's needed. Feeling the sweetness of the mind. Namaste.